He's good.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
There's a family up at Blue Rapids that does that. I mean, they all, well, the dad, well, it's a dad and a son and a son-in-law. Well,
Hopefully y'all can hear me. You are muted if you can hear me. Are you guys able to hear me?
it's gonna have to come down.
Can you hear us, Amanda?
Just come and take down the coax and
I
then
can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes,
Perfect.
yes.
Awesome.
the other side of the meter, so I gotta get with them. But first I gotta get my new toy home so that I can use it.
What you,
Skid loader.
you've gone all this time without a skid loader.
Yeah, all these years.
Well, Larry only got one 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
But
I got
it
3 loader tractors.
only one.
Well, one's an AM. but
Oh, yeah.
My toy's bigger than your toy. My toy's newer than your toy.
Well, kid, what do you got for these toys?
So
So, you know,
what do you got? Getting a skid steer or
Yeah.
a John Deere or
case.
case?
Everything in our place is red.
I know.
It ain't red, keep it in the shed.
We are being recorded.
Oh, we gotta start.
Oh, sorry. I was waiting on Nathan. Is Nathan coming tonight?
I have not heard from him.
Okay, I will call this meeting of the Riley County Planning Board to order. First, I will read the. At this time, if there are any board members that need to declare an ex parte contacts with that they have had with any items that we're talking about tonight, that they may do that at this time. They may declare if there's any conflict of interest or communications they had that could influence their ability to consider items impartially.
I'm good.
Seeing none, we will move on. Am I not on?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm not picking up. Okay.
Can you at all?
At this time, we will open up public comments. This is a time that we have that anyone can talk about anything other than what we're talking about tonight. And so if anyone in the public that would like to make a comment about something else at this time, please go to the podium and state your name and address, and we would love to hear what you'd have to say. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to our consent agenda, where we'll consider the minutes of the October 11th meeting. 17th, sorry about that. October 17th. It's been a long time. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I don't have any.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the fees. Report of fees for the months of October, November, and December, and the minutes of the October meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, that takes care of our whole consent agenda. Thank you, John. So it's been moved that we approve the minutes from the October 17th meeting and the fee reports for October, November, and December. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0. Okay, at this time then, we move on to our general agenda of the Riley County Planning Board and Zoning Board of Zoning Appeals. And the first item of business tonight is election of officers and appointment of secretary for the coming year. So we will open up nominations for election of officers.
So do you want president again?
I would rather not.
Is it,
Oh,
or is it all?
huh?
Is it all
Oh, what?
officers? Or just,
There's only, there's
The chair, and the
president,
chair, vice chair.
yeah,
president,
right.
vice
And vice
president, and, yeah,
Chair.
And then the secretary
yeah,
that we have to appoint.
right.
So I would rather step down just as a board member. Some other commitments I have been weighing on me a lot, and
Right?
I want to still be a part of the board and stuff, but would rather step down as chairman. So do I hear any nominations for chairman?
I'd like to ask John if he'd be willing to serve as the board chair,
Yes, I would.
and I'll nominate John.
Okay, John's been nominated. Do I hear a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded that John be nominated as chairman. Any other nominations? If not, do I hear? Well, let me do it this way. Are there any other nominations? If I call for it 3 times, then are there any other nominations? If seeing none, then John has been nominated as chairman, and the board,
Do they need to?
Elects,
is that okay to do it that way?
Mm-hmm.
And the board then elects John as chairman? Okay. Okay,
Okay.
Uh,
You're getting.
well, you want me to finish it?
Yeah, finish
Okay,
and go
okay.
ahead and do the vice chair.
Okay. Nominations for vice chair. And this you would fill in when
I'm going.
John's gone. You think John?
Joe, Rita, Joe.
Joe, you want to be vice
I'd be
chair?
willing to nominate Nathan since he's not here. To defend himself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Railroad job. Well, I mean, he do a good job. Other than that, I mean,
Yeah, he'd do probably a better job than I would. He knows the community a lot better than I do. Just like nominating, but I mean, since he's not here to defend himself, I'll consent to be vice.
okay,
Take John's position when he's not here.
okay. We'll just make, he's usually
Yeah,
here.
that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe's been nominated for vice chairman. Any other nominations?
I move we cast nomination cease and cast unanimous ballot for Joe for vice president.
Okay, it's been moved that nomination cease and cast unanimous ballot for Joe. All in favor, say aye. 4-0. Joe, congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Who
now
seconded?
secretary.
Who seconded?
Oh.
We need to step back one. We didn't do any of that for the chair. We need to finish that.
No, that's why I
She
called
did a
for it.
different one.
I did it a different way. I called for it 3 times.
Okay.
That's why I was looking at you if that was okay or not to do it that way.
Then we switch gears. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
let me go back.
well,
I do it a different way than she does.
when he said nomination cease and cast unanimous ballot, then that took care of it.
Right on. Okay,
Right.
we're good.
Okay.
We do need a second, I do believe.
Okay. Nominations for Joe. Do I hear a second? Second. Okay. Now
No.
you're elected.
Now, the
Okay.
secretary
It's
is.
always Bob.
It's Bob. Okay.
Bob, do
Are
you
you
want
willing?
to?
Can you say my name 3 times?
Do you want me to? Bob Isaac has been nominated as secretary.
So John nominated. I can't remember how we've done that in the past, but
I move we nominate Bob Isaac for appoint Bob
There it is.
for secretary
For the planning board.
for the planning board. Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes. For the
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, but to appoint Bob as the secretary for the planning board.
Is he also for the board of zoning appeals?
Vote and
Yeah,
the Board of Zoning Appeals?
Yeah.
Does it need to be for both? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, motion carried. Okay, anything else? If not, at this time,
we have the conductor rules of the. Oh, are you wanting to switch
Oh.
now?
no, that's fine. I can go ahead and do that too. I didn't know when you wanted me to
I don't
switch.
know.
When do you want me to switch?
Well,
Do you want me to finish the general agenda for the Board of Zoning Appeals? Or the joint meeting?
yeah, this is a joint meeting. Number 2 is joint meeting.
Right, so go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, the next item we have is the code of conduct, basically, that they have come up with for our meetings. And did you all have a chance to read that?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, that they would be allowed 5 minutes for each speaker. All comments directed towards the board. Speaker must go to the podium, which they do that now. Public can only to comment during the designated time, which that's what they're supposed to do. And not to repeat what they're talking about. You know, I was on in the public once that we were fighting something that was before the board, and we only had 3 minutes to talk. And there were only 5 of us. The room was full and out there was full, but there were only 5 of us that talked. And we said everything that needed to be said. And so, you know, I think that, you know, we can maybe even be a little tighter on this. Because it says remarks of individual speakers shall not be simply repetitive of identical comments made by prior speakers. I mean, they shouldn't even talk about the same subject, really,
Right.
and stuff. I don't know if we can.
But if we make that clear to them, because I guess as I read this here, this down at the bottom down here, we will, I mean, if we have a big topic, we'll read this at the beginning of the meeting. Am I correct? Is that the way I understand this?
It's
And-
good practice.
Yes.
And that it would be sent out to them ahead of time.
How's that being handled?
I think we had discussed that we're gonna, when we notify the 1,000-foot property owners, this will be included in.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, that's what it was said.
for some reason, yeah. That was in the letter, the cover letter.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Now, understand that that's just people being notified.
Right.
Within 1,000 feet.
Right.
Right.
And big ticket items generally attract a lot more than that. You want to talk.
But
Well, yeah.
But the 2 items that we've had this big crowds on, most of the people that we've had the problem with have been within that 1,000 feet.
I wouldn't call it majority.
Okay,
It's just quite a few people, but we're taking a general step to help this situation out. I think that's what it's for.
okay,
And I think that the majority of these rules are essentially in place already, with the exception of the time limit.
But we're gonna
You can always ask, and you try to make it clear ahead of time, but people will still repeat someone else's, arguments and issues. But we're again, it's just an effort to try to, keep it calm, civil, and organized.
Well, see, that's the thing. If they would get organized ahead of time, they wouldn't repeat each other's
Well,
comments.
I'm talking about.
No, I know, for us being organized, yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
between the board and just the mass, and the angry masses. It's just an effort to try to keep things contained.
Mhm.
So as far as the discussion, as far as time. Did you we were talking about that. Did you want to say anything more about that?
Well, it's just, I wouldn't mind seeing the 3 minutes. And since the Board of County Commissioners have that, which I didn't realize that they did and stuff, but where was it? I read that.
I put that in the little staff memo. They do have a 3-minute.
Yes, okay, and down below here. Yes.
What does the city have?
I think the city is 5 minutes. Is that right, Bob? Do you remember, or Lisa? Pretty sure it was 5.
But like I said, when we were doing that thing that night, we said everything we needed to say.
5 minutes is quite a bit. It makes me no difference.
It's sometimes the more time you give them, the more wound up they get too sometimes.
But one of the criticisms when the last time we had this, that 3 minutes wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I think Nathan's the one who added B.
So I think that there's discussion amongst staff, our legal department, other staff, like the city and how they do things and how we should do things. And generally, I think it's giving them a little bit more than just your standard 3 minutes. That's a standard that a lot of municipalities use. And most of the time, you don't even get into situations where you even need that 3 minutes.
Right.
Or even the need to enforce it. This is for those occasions.
When we have to enforce.
Quite frankly, going to be, and I think by giving that little bit of a flexibility, a little bit more time, is an effort from the government side to show compassion to the people who have issues, but on whatever project. 5 minutes, 2 extra minutes on that 3 minute cap I don't think is asking too much. If you see what I'm saying, it's more of a gift.
Yeah, right. A 2-minute gift.
But it is also a response to the people who had criticized it.
Yeah, I'm okay with the 5 minutes. I mean, people aren't, professional speakers necessarily when they come in here, so they might appreciate a little extra time to collect their thoughts.
Now I'm comfortable with 5. I think we change it now. We've got it that later. No, because Nathan is not here.
Right.
We can vote to accept it with him not here. Since we didn't make any changes and he's seen this. He seemed comfortable with it and made that one change last time we met. So I'm comfortable with the 5, and then I think we can go ahead and probably vote on it.
Okay.
I'm good with the 5 minutes, so.
Okay, that's fine. Just thought I'd throw it out there. So do I hear a motion that we accept the rules of public comment for the Riley County Planning Board and Board of Zoning Appeals?
So moved.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the proposed rules of public comment for the Riley County Planning Board and Board of Zoning Appeals. All in favor? Oh, any discussion? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 4-0.
Okay, we need to adjourn
Right.
the joint.
So do I hear a motion to adjourn the joint meeting?
I move we do so.
Second.
It's been moved to second that we adjourn the joint meeting of the Riley County Planning Board and Board of Zoning Appeals.
And reconvene.
And we will reconvene as the Riley County Board of Zoning Appeals this time then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. And I will let John assume the chair.
Well, you got foot on your foot.
Yeah, I don't move.
You could have just well stayed here. It wouldn't have been.
Oh, I guess I could have, yeah.
You could have just well stayed here. Will confuse everybody.
Did you want to pick the hat or?
Just leave it there.
It's fine. I got his phone too, so.
Move
the name.
the name signs.
See, you could have just well stayed.
I can guess.
If I knew you had-
Sorry. No, it's.
Yeah. This time we'll open up the public hearing to consider the request of Claudia Murphy petitioner for a conditional use to allow a second dwelling in an ag district. Location is 2,300 feet north of Homestead Road, west side of Alert Road in section 30, township 8, south range 5, east of Ballard Township. And we'll have Bob go ahead and give us the staff report.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Bob Isaac, Riley County Planning. Claudia Murphy, property owner, has made application with Raleigh County Planning and Development requesting approval for a conditional use to establish a secondary dwelling in the AG Agricultural Zoning District. The subject property consists of a 6.73 acre unplatted tract. It's generally located approximately 2,300 feet north of Homestead Road on the west side of Alert Road. The applicant and her husband purchased a new manufactured home of residential design, which was built in 2006, to replace the older double wide manufactured home, which was built in 1990, located on the property. Instead of removing the older model, the applicant's husband made arrangements with planning staff to convert the old residence into a shop accessory structure. However, before the old residence was converted, or the conversion could take place, the applicant's husband passed away. The applicant is requesting that instead of converting the older residence into a shop accessory structure as was planned before, that to be reclassified and used as a secondary dwelling for her adult daughter to reside. The applicant currently resides in the old residence, awaiting certain improvements to the newer residence to be completed. Once these improvements have been made, she intends to relocate to the new residence, while her daughter, caregiver, if you will, moves into the old residence. As mentioned earlier, the site is zoned AG Agricultural District, here shown in gray. And it has been zoned AG Agricultural District, if you will, since at least 1974. All of the property surrounding the subject site is also zoned AG Agricultural District, and there are no special uses, variances, or other functional uses associated with the subject property. The Riley County Fire District number 1 will continue to serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the Riley Rural Fire Station, located at 327 North Main in the city of Riley. The property is not located within 5 road miles of a fire station, which results in an ISO rating of 10. And you can see that on this map with the red and white dashed lines. The request was reviewed by officials from Fort Riley's Environmental Division. They reported that the site is located near the Fort Riley military installation. It generates noise by the firing of weapons systems and detonation of explosives on the installation. The site lies entirely within the land use planning zone, or the LUPZ, shown here in blue. According to Fort Riley officials, for this proposal, noise levels may be particularly bothersome on the frequent occasion of both tank and helicopter firing at the Multi-Purpose Range Complex, or the MRPC, which is located only approximately 4¼ kilometers to the south. This is the site plan showing the existing layout of the property. The site plan serves to illustrate the existing and post-development of the site. Note that the site plan indicates which residents shall serve as the principal residence and which residents shall serve as the secondary residence. Each home is existing and served by individual lagoons and a shared water well. Few pics of the property. I'm standing on the right of way of Alert Road near the south boundary line of the site, looking west down the driveway. This is the newer of the two residences on the site. It is proposed to serve as the principal single-family principal residence. Just simply turning to my right, this shot looking northwesterly shows the newer home in the foreground and the older home in the distance. This photo here just shows the property in relation to Alert Road. And going further north, about the halfway mark, maybe a little bit further, this is the older of the two homes and is proposed to be utilized as the secondary dwelling. This residence meets the criteria for a secondary dwelling, as outlined in the Riley County Land Development Regulations. This is the shot of the driveway that serves that residence, along with the cedar tree wind block. Facing directly north, the wastewater lagoon that serves this residence is located on the other side of that wind block. And here is that wastewater lagoon. I didn't want to leave that one out. The specific conditions that the applicant must comply with if the conditional use is approved are as follows. There shall be no more than one secondary dwelling on the property in addition to the principal single-family dwelling. These conditions come out of the LDR. An accessory apartment shall not be permitted within the principal building or secondary dwellings. The secondary dwelling shall not exceed 2,000 total square feet. So the building itself can be replaced. It just cannot exceed this total square footage. The owner of the lot or parcel shall occupy either the principal single-family dwelling or the secondary one. The choice is really up to them. Secondary dwelling shall not be conveyed or sold separately from the lot or parcel and shall remain under the same ownership as the principal single-family residence. Secondary dwelling shall have a pitched roof, windows, eaves, and other architectural features that are visibly similar with those of the principal building. Exterior finish materials and trim must be the same or closely match the appearance of the finished materials and trim of the principal building. And in this particular case, they're very similar. Number 7, the secondary dwelling shall be located as close to the principal residence as possible given sanitary code requirements. Prior to the LDR, there was a 100-foot maximum distance that a secondary dwelling could occupy from the principal, which was almost impossible to do with the sanitary code. So we changed that to allow the approximation. So again, they're close as possible so that they, in this particular case, it meets the sanitary code, but they're not 5 miles apart from each other. So staff recommends the requested conditional use be approved based on the above stated conditions. If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer those. I'd be glad to field those for you at this time.
Anybody got any questions on them this time?
I know.
Read it. I'm good too. I guess at this time, I'll ask for the applicant. If you want to say something, come up to the podium and state your name and go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Vic Davis. I'm an attorney with the Worry Davis Law Firm that has offices in Manhattan and Junction City. Also standing beside me is Mrs. Murphy. As Mr. Isaac explained, prior to his death, Mr. Murphy began constructing the newer residence with the idea of the family would move into that residence and Mr. Murphy would use the older residence as a shop. Unfortunately, he passed away. Mrs. Murphy is, well, I don't want to say elder lady, but I don't know what she's
73.
okay. She said it, not me. And their home is about halfway between Riley and Leonardville. She works as a nurse at Fort Riley, gets home at different hours during the day. It's a fairly large lot. And after Neely, that was her husband, passed away, it was thought best that her daughter, who is also present here, and her husband and Mrs. Murphy's son, that the daughter move into the older residence and Mrs. Murphy move into the newer residence. And just so Mrs. Murphy would have some protection, so on and so forth. And that's what's planned. The newer residence is capable of being occupied now. We were waiting until this body took action before taking any steps to make a move. I would point out that one requirement that was made was the lagoon that serves the newer residence was an older lagoon. And so that has been cleaned out and redug and fenced and meets all the code requirements now. So there's 2 full lagoons out there servicing both of the houses. So that's Mr. Isaac's presentation was very complete, and the plans and everything you see are very complete. And unless the board has questions of us, that's all I would have.
At this time, does anybody have any questions for the applicants? All righty.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is there any opponents within 1,000 feet? I don't see anybody else. So I guess we will continue on. You guys want to close the public hearing and go into our deliberation mode? If so, I need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we close the public hearing and go into our deliberative mode.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing and go into our deliberation mode. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Yes, we'll start out with you, Diane, over here on.
The only concern I have about something like this is that in the future that they would be split and sold separately, but it is in our regulations that they can't do that. So that should take care of it. That's otherwise it's, it's a good deal for them.
Okay, Rita, you got anything?
No, I have no concerns. I think it's a.
Joe?
Given, the 2 presentations, I'm very satisfied.
Yep, I'm in too. I looked it over when I was looking it over. So yeah, I kind of had the same thing Diane did, but as I read through here, read the stipulations. So, all right.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
move that we approve the conditional use application for Claudia Murphy, petition number 23001.
And I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the conditional use for Claudia Murphy 23-001 with the staff report.
Oh, with details, sorry about that,
Okay.
with details brought out in the staff report.
With the details brought out. Is there any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. So, good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. So. All right. You can stay if you want. We'll finish up. If you're not, that's fine. Go ahead and.
Tomorrow's moving day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Good luck.
She wants to or anything.
All righty.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
All right, at this time, do I hear a motion to adjourn the Raleigh County Board of Zoning Appeals and reconvene as the Raleigh County Planning Board?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn the Raleigh County Board of Zoning Appeals and reconvene as Raleigh County Planning Board. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. We are back to reconvene as Raleigh County Planning Board. I guess the first item is agricultural exemptions for agricultural structures. Mr. Bob.
Let me explain what's going on here. So again, going back to anything, any structures and uses that are agricultural by state law are exempt from the zoning regulations. So the process that we were using was simply have whoever comes in and wants to get a building permit for an agricultural structure, and say it's an agricultural structure, and they simply sign a form saying that it is. And then we accept that as face value. Over the years, I think that we've received quite a bit of criticism by different members of the planning board on that process, feeling that it's not quite adequate. And making any kind of determination if someone's truly going to be using that structure for agricultural purposes. So that's where we recently had a situation, and John, you're familiar with this, where someone did that very thing, came in and signed something, and other bits of information were coming into the department, contending that the person who signed up on that and received the building permit, that the use of the structure would not be used for agricultural purposes. At that point, we felt that maybe as a staff, that maybe we could do more in trying to get some sort of evidence, some sort of proof, some sort of information from people applying for a building permit for an agricultural structure to make a determination whether they were truly ag or not. Now, this is different from an agricultural exemption for a house. What I mean is what we're trying to make a determination here is that the structure itself will be used for ag. Doesn't mean that the person has to be a farmer or a rancher necessarily. But what we've done here is we've taken the exemption form for a house and modified it so that it is focused on the use of the structure. And with the intent of trying to have the applicant submit as much information as possible for staff to make that determination. So it's a step in the right direction, we feel, in order to make that determination. Is it foolproof? No. Can someone flat out lie anyway? Yeah. And can they fool us? Yeah. And that's the chance we got to take. But I think if we take this step, it will, in my opinion, keep the honest people honest. Most people that I feel that are in agricultural, either they themselves are in the operation or they're leasing their ground or using their buildings for agricultural purposes. And that they won't have any trouble or any problem submitting the paperwork to indicate who they say they are, or they are who they say they are, in other words. And so this is the application, and there are some items on here that we asked for. And they're going to be a drop dead requirement, not necessarily. They can submit to us whatever they can. We also understand that there are startups where much like the home, when someone or a family wants to build, get a building permit and build a home, and yet they don't have a farm yet. They're just getting started. And we have the 5-year business plan method of getting that rolling and trying to encourage, people to get into ag. We don't want to be a roadblock for that. There's 2 major reasons why this, we'd like to get more of more clarity, more information to make a determination. One is that, of course, and this has been also criticized. The $150 building permit fee is waived if it's determined that the building is going to be used for agricultural purposes by definition. Okay, that's one. The other one is for people who are wanting to build a shop and say it's on a vacant tract and say it's for agricultural purposes when it's not. And we have a standing rule that no, that's not allowed in Raleigh County. You have to have a principal structure first before you build an accessory structure. So that's ways of getting around things. But we're saying no, if it's agricultural, we understand there's such a thing as accessory structures occupying a tract of land without the house being there and working as implement sheds, pole barns, and so on. Those are for agricultural purposes. We understand that happens, but this will try to kind of curb that from happening as much. We'll just say. So that's what the purpose of this is. Anyone have any questions for me?
What's our input into this? Usually there's just information so that we've got information.
Well, it's more of a discussion. It's not for approval or anything. We've decided to go ahead. We've taken this before Craig Cox and make sure that he, if he had any reservations about doing something like this, and not only did he promote this, he thought this was a good idea. We also decided that adding a notary to the bottom of one of these, and actually a notary to all of our exemption forms, would be even a step even more in the right direction, if you will. It really forces people's hands, and we're hoping that it will curb the dishonesty when it comes around. That's really what's
Mr. Cox is.
the deputy county councilor.
Thank you.
I mean, just like we have on the monthly building permits, there's one that I question whether they're agricultural or not. And it's a residence in an accessory structure.
It's really easy for someone to come in and read a form and just go, okay, I'll sign it here.
Mm-hmm.
When we take it a little bit further, and they have to submit information proving that they are who they say they are, it's a different ballgame.
When do we do that one?
It's been a while ago. I think
A
that's
long-
an orchard.
It must have been a long time. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say an orchard. I don't even remember an orchard.
Greg Fief.
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's fine. I just,
Yeah.
that's the one
Yeah,
I
it's
question.
been a while.
Now, here's the difference. If someone gets an agricultural exemption to build a house, at that point, they've submitted all their information,
Mhm.
and it's been determined by the agricultural exemption committee, staff, and a couple planning board members, that there is an existing operation that is enough to warrant a house at that location. The accessory structures can easily follow
Well,
behind.
see, but on here, it's to build a house and a structure.
No, it's just, maybe we need to take a look at
Okay,
that.
what now?
To build a residence and an accessory
Where are
structure.
you seeing that?
It's on October's deal.
Well,
Yeah, he's building his house. He's
Oh,
already got it. He's already got it.
Only the difference between this and if someone wanted to just come in and do that, if they were already agricultural exempt for a house, they won't need to do this.
So then I'm gonna go to November's then. And ask the question of Stanley Ward Morgan. Agricultural equipment building. We've never done an ag exemption for him ever.
Right.
So how is he getting to building it?
He
Yeah.
signed, he signed the form. we were
Exactly.
using
He
it.
went through the
So
process prior to that.
what?
He has cattle.
He signed this form?
No.
No, he signed the other one.
The one that was in place before we decided to do this.
Yeah, see, that's, so because this has been my beef ever since.
Oh, I know.
I mean, because I had a neighbor that did that and he is no more agricultural than the man on the moon.
Yeah, I,
And I just felt that, and I guess, I'll just be honest, I've raised enough stink that, because it's not right.
it's not right.
And so I guess we gotta start someplace sometime, so.
So this.
Yeah, no, I really like this.
I do
This is
too, I
what's up.
agree with you.
I mean, it's not, again, it's not gonna be 100% fail safe. Foolproof, whatever you wanna call it, you know, someone's gonna try to get around it, they're gonna get around it. But it's, you know, in my opinion, if you ask someone that's really not a farmer to supply a bunch of information saying they are, they're gonna go, okay. What if they,
Especially the
the question
notary
did
thing.
come up, the question did come up. What if they are farmers and they don't want to be bothered with the form? The way we look at it is, okay, we're gonna process their request, building permit request as if they're not an agricultural producer. One, they'll have to pay the 150, but if it's an accessory structure out there without a house on it, I'm sorry, you can't do that.
Well, if they can't fill out a form, that would take, what, 10 minutes?
Oh, that takes a
15?
little longer.
Yeah, and maybe supply a little bit of information.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell pretty quick whether or not they are or not.
Yeah, and I think it's a small step in the right direction to implement the goals and objectives of the plan and our land use regulations. Before it's like, it's pretty easy, and so that's what we have for that. It was just for discussion. The board, I think is kind of matching the request of the board and past board members regarding this. It's always been a sore topic, and I just would like to see we're trying to make as a planning staff, we're trying to make take strides to get this kind of thing taken care of.
I think it's a good idea.
Too.
I really do, so.
Okay.
I'm happy with it.
Okay.
I'm happy with it. What, does anybody else got any other questions, Bob? Do we need to vote on this, Bob?
No, it's just
Okay, all
for
right.
your information.
All right, so while we're talking on that kind of issues, and I've brought this up before, I guess maybe this is something else we need to do. I guess I feel throughout Riley County, there are buildings being built, there's farmers, they're adding on to buildings and stuff, and they don't come in to get a building permit. And my thought was to the whole situation is that we have a penalty fee for the contractors that do not obey by the rules and regulations. Well, I guess when I brought this up, I was told that we need to talk to our county commissioners about this to start there. And maybe that's something that the board, we need to visit with our county commissioners because I just think it's wrong. Because it's happened in the north end of the county over the years since I've been on this board more times than not. And some of them had said that it was none of our business what we did, what they do. Well, yeah, it is our business. The office's business, that's part of our rules and regulations. And that's why there's signs all over the county that said this is a zone county, building permits are required on them there. I guess people don't know how to read.
It's the farmer mentality, unfortunately.
So, I mean, maybe that's, so I haven't talked to my county commissioner yet, but I plan on to, but once again, it may be too much paperwork for something like that.
Well, I wanna clarify something with you.
Okay.
Go back to a statute.
Okay,
Okay, that's active, very, very much active right now. Any structures, any uses that are agricultural are exempt from the zoning regulations. Your building permit and all that stuff, those requirements are in the zoning regs. So if they're a farmer and a rancher and they decide not to get a building permit, they, okay, push come to shove, they win. Because statute protects them.
oh,
Now,
Okay.
people who are not farmers or ranchers, see, we're trying to.
but I thought that you still, because
Because of
And-
tax.
well, I'll admit it, years and years and years ago, my dad was in the wrong. We rebuilt a shed. And it's like, you didn't come and get a building permit to do that. Don't need one. Yes, you do. So, people adding on to shed stuff. I thought you still had to get a building permit, even though it don't cost you nothing. I thought they still had to
That's
apply
what we're
with you.
saying. Yeah, that's the standard
Okay.
process. What I'm
Okay.
saying is, if push comes to shove and they just don't want to get it, we can't force them.
Okay,
It's more of a courtesy.
right.
They're actually, we're saying, yeah, you gotta get a building permit for our tracking purposes and things like that. And usually we have no issues with that. People are not gonna buck that norm. They're just not. They're going, okay, especially if it's free. But this action here is to try to make a discernment whether they are who they say they are.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But this is a whole different
They
subject.
they are protected. Yes, that is our standard right now. That's our standard procedure. If they're wanting to build something, yeah, they should get a building permit, and we let them know about it. Is there a penalty? No.
No,
And is there even a cost? Is there a fee? If it's determined that they are ag, where the building itself will be used for agricultural purposes? No.
so, but that was just the flip side. But this here is small. I mean, I'm not talking about this, I'm just talking about in general. So, all right.
Sure.
All right.
Here to do it.
Yes, Darren.
But I just wanted to say something to where somebody mentioned about tax dollars, on buildings that were built without that and stuff. So working in the appraiser's office for 16 years, that's why they go out every 6 years to the properties and they find those and they actually do get on the tax roll.
Okay.
But if you tell me, I do have a good working relationship with Danny Williams and them up there, that I'll pass it on and they'll send somebody out there.
Cool.
Just because of, they don't have to pay for the permit because it's ag, but yeah.
They still got to pay taxes on their buildings.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yes, that's cool. I'm glad to know that.
That's just a little input.
Glad to know that.
Working up there.
Yeah. Glad to know that. All right. I guess we'll go on to number 2 of the planning board. Annual comprehensive plan and review reminder.
Yeah.
How's that going? Amanda?
Yeah,
Did you sleep?
we're,
Did you sleep?
just almost start.
She's still there.
We're the department is still working through our software, trying to get things working on, getting that going, getting that cleaned up. Typically, our schedule is to get things started as far as the review for the annual review for the comprehensive plan. We've also have had situations where that review has been pushed to the midpoint of the year, depending on what's going on over the spring. Because it just so happens we get pretty busy. And it has been about 6 months maybe since our last review. So it's really not been a lot of time since the last review or the actual or last year's annual review. And there was some discussion last year regarding this is what we're looking at as far as a comprehensive plan update. And at some point, I'd like to get that going. Amanda, did you want to say anything to that?
Yeah, not a whole ton to add, but yes, we are definitely going to be working a lot more towards our update this coming year. Like as Bob said, just some things have just kind of taken some precedence, but we're going to be getting going on it. So our annual review might look a little bit different this year, but again, we'll work through it and we'll have a lot more conversations to know what we're looking at. So
That is it.
You know, like,
All righty. That's all for this evening. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the Raleigh County Planning Board meeting?
I'll move that we adjourn.
Can't fight over the second there. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn Raleigh County Planning Board meeting. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carried.
And
Thank you.
thank you for all those who are attending on Zoom.
Yeah.
thanks, everybody.